Professional victim fatigue. The word fatigue has definitely had a generational run lately. I've been seeing all types of fatigue. Everyone's fatigued with something. I like it because it sounds more complicated than just saying, yeah, I'm tired of all this bullshit. I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. I'm fatigued.
Like, improve public safety for disabled folks every day, you know? Oh, no thank you. Anyways.
For those of you who are confused, no, this masking video is not from 2020. It was released recently, like a month ago, and you have someone who is still saying that everyone has to wear a mask for COVID, because if you don't, then you're a bad person who deserves to be shamed for wanting to live your life normally. This person actually does a lot of masking propaganda, so let's see why.
Why do you talk?
Okay, if respectfully you are the type of person to listen to a single word that comes out of this person's mouth, you actually deserve, like, the worst, okay? Remember when your mom used this example to say that you should be, like, a free thinker? She would say something like, well, if your friends walked off a cliff, would you? It would say, like, well, Jimmy gets to stay up late and play Game Boy. Well, if Jimmy jumped off a cliff, would you? And it'd be like, no. If you are literally a fucking dumb fuck, because if you're gonna listen to this person, she actually should tell you to jump off a cliff, and you will jump off a cliff.
About masks all the time because the pandemic never ended. The government just removed emergency status and normalized sacrificing our
Do you know what a fucking pandemic is? Like, it literally did end.
most vulnerable.
You know, it's weird how they were able to drop the emergency status and everything seems fine. It's almost like the risk of dying from COVID was heavily exaggerated and manufactured by horrendous policy decisions and the censorship of doctors with effective treatments. So this person who, by the way, works from home and doesn't have to deal with masking for an 8-hour shift is suggesting that we go back to some of the lockdown policies of a couple years ago that crashed the economy, threw a bunch of people into poverty, and damaged everyone's mental health, all for a disease that's basically killing nobody these days. At some point, you have to do a cost versus benefits analysis, and if you get the short end of the stick on that, then you do what you can to protect yourself. But this whole masking 5 years after the lockdown started is not an uncommon belief, actually. I've seen a lot of people...
Okay, listen, it absolutely is. Normal people that you'll see every day do not believe in masking today because of COVID. Normally, if you see someone in a mask, like out and about, there are three types of people. One, Asian. I don't know what's going on, but Asian people do like wearing masks, so I don't know. I've come to just accept it. I'm not gonna have beef with them. Okay, they're great people. I'm not gonna bother them. If they want to wear masks, whatever. That's one of them. Number two is a person who has like a really old relative who's kind of on the cusp of dying that lives at home with them that they're just trying to keep alive, and they have a cold currently, so you're not gonna get them sick, so you're wearing a mask, right? That's number two. Number three is this kind of person. Batshit crazy, you can tell by the hair, the piercings, really weird, safe, sleazy, Curtis Connor inspired tattoos. That's person number three. But it's not common that like the insane psychopathic people, at least maybe where I live, they're not just kind of roaming around with masks on and upon confrontation telling you that it's because they're afraid of COVID in the Big 25, you know? They're on social media.
promoting it.
I'm COVID safe. If you guys aren't masking, I'm not going to be around you.
You should go.
Hold on a second. Wait a second.
Promoting it.
I'm COVID.
Bro, this is the woman who had beef with their fucking grandpa, who's in his, like, late years of life. I mean, most grandfathers are. Because he voted for Trump, and she's talking about masking for COVID to protect the elderly. Bro, you literally just cyberbullied your own grandfather. You don't care about the elderly.
Safe. If you guys aren't masking, I'm not going to be around you.
You should go out more. It better be free. If I'm going out, it has to be free.
Are you a guy? What the fuck is this facial hair? Oh, nah. Oh my god.
And there needs to be barely anyone.
Yeah, we're having a fucking fashion emergency on your face. Okay? This is a problem. Triple-decker rings on the nose. You want to talk about public safety? How about the safety of every person's virgin eyeballs that have not been tarnished and damaged by your entire appearance right here?
Insight. Because, yeah, COVID.
Dude, honestly, the most affected people by COVID are elderly, and I think you'd kill them with how you look before COVID does. They're like, hey, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's got fucking facial hair! You'd kill someone.
And people aren't masking.
Oh
For
my
context,
God.
both of those videos were filmed this year. Here's a whole page dedicated to masking propaganda with a comic that says, "Not masking is eugenics," followed by the caption talking about how the creator is mad that normal people on the left don't want to wear a mask every time they go outside. Are you just gonna wear a mask forever? Yeah, I can only imagine the tyranny we would live under if
Okay, but she looks Asian, so.
this person got any political power. But more importantly, everyone is just tired of this type of person constantly playing victim and then using that to either tell everybody what to do or demand free shit. We're all tired of this, or fatigued as one might say. Because the ones who play the victim game are always the most sociopathic, self-centered, and awful people, so no one's being fooled by this fake compassion anymore.
Why don't just disabled people wear masks then? Some disabled and immunocompromised people cannot.
Oh my fucking god, consumerism has controlled your mind. I don't care what anyone says, this can in no universe be a green flag, okay? I know what you're thinking. Oh, the plushies in the room. Yes, it's true, there's a few e-girls who have this quantity of plushies, and they're attractive, and you want to look past this, but listen, I'm so sorry to tell you this many, you have to turn the other way, okay? I know you want to walk through that door, you see this, you gotta walk out. It's gonna be a hard, lonely walk home, but it'll be one that your future self will thank you for doing.
Not get vaccinated.
And let's be honest, too. Some of these Pokemon, like, this is how you know she's doing it for the aesthetic and the consumerism. Some of these Pokemon are literally nobody's favorite. Poliwhirl? Dude, Poliwhirl is one of the most low-effort, shitty designs they've ever done, and it's on your wall. Shit's ass.
Or wear a mask due to medical reasons, which is why it's crucial you should if you can. Where should I mask then? Everywhere? You should mask anywhere you
in your own home!
think disabled people deserve to exist in safety. P.S. That's every public place.
For the record, this
How many plushies do you have? I think I have the Mew plushie, and that's it. It's like, yeah, that's it.
person's claiming that she's disabled because she's slightly autistic. Now, for one, never getting sick is bad for your immune system and makes you more vulnerable. 2, being alive always carries risk, and nobody is masking every time they go outside forever. In the extremely small chance they come across someone who has a compromised immune system and can't mask if they want to. Like, that's such a rare thing that realistically, I think this person's just overly fearful of catching COVID and is saying, what about these
Yeah, well, these people should, in a healthy society, be labeled as paranoid humans that are hypochondriacs, and that's what they are, so they should be ignored when it comes to health advice. Like, yeah, there's always a risk of something bad happening, but let's just say if you are the kind of person who gets really scared when you put your hand on a doorknob and you need to find Purell hand sanitizer instantly, you're just a germaphobe, right? There's germs everywhere, there's sicknesses everywhere, and I feel like normal people have to come to terms with that and still exist in society. You can't just be afraid of a possible disease happening wherever you go, anywhere and any time. Your best bet is to just, like, not do dumb shit like lick the ground for a fucking TikTok, or do like the COVID challenge that happened, I think 2 or 3 years ago, where you would lick the toilet seat. Just don't do shit like that and you'll probably be fine, in general. You can't prevent sickness 100% of the time. At the end of the day, if you're never ever getting sick in your life, then that's probably not good, actually.
Marginalized communities to pretend that she isn't being selfish, because calling everybody murdering eugenicists if they don't cater to what
you literally got COVID 3 days ago? Yeah, and like, what about it? I don't care.
What you want is kind of self-centered. Anyway, for those of you who didn't see the prior videos, this pink-haired person is Courtney, who is a 28-year-old asexual autistic person with low support needs who also has ADHD.
Dude, oh my god.
Did I get all those tags perfectly correct? I wouldn't want to be called a bigot.
Oh my gosh, I had an autistic meltdown this weekend and went nonverbal. Actually, that would be a verbal shutdown. Huh? Because being non-speaking or non-verbal is the permanent state of using words in other forms besides voice. You don't experience that, and you don't have to co-opt someone else's language to describe that experience.
Right, the asshole is the person who made the honest mistake and not the one who is meticulously correcting everyone. Anyway, basically all of Courtney's content is centered around what level of the victim tier you're on, and she seems to revel in collecting various diagnoses like autism and ADHD, so she can use that to claim that she is disabled and therefore oppressed, which really is just a personality trait that everyone finds annoying. Because ultimately, the reason that they're playing the victim oppression game is to shield themselves from any criticism of their behavior. Which brings us to a video that I made a little while back called Why the LGBT Movement is Failing, that included an entire 10 seconds of Courtney talking about some BS about being non-binary, and I basically responded with the same sentiment of this meme here, which is that once you see the bad haircut and the pink hair, you know this person's going to be annoying and offended by everything. And I mean, was I wrong? Is the stereotype incorrect? Wow, is this what you look like without the pink anime character hair?
Oh my god.
This is what 4 years of college will do to a person. Now,
yeah, I mean, she didn't look... Yeah, she was kind of cute before she got corrupted and decided to turn her house into what it is now.
Character hair? Jesus. This is what 4 years of college will do to a person. Now, a normal person...
No, that's definitely not college. That can't be college. That has to be something else, like an acid trip or something along those lines.
See criticism like that and either ignore it or make a video response. But since Courtney has the maturity of a 7-year-old like Illymation, who also thought people should not be allowed to criticize her, she decided to fight dirty and file a copyright strike on my video on her to get it removed. I made this video here responding to that, where I pointed out that it's ridiculous that she's striking my video over a 10-second clip. I said that she's engaging in copyright abuse to silence people she doesn't like, and I ended that video by saying that I would be fighting the strike. Now we're all caught up to everything that's already been discussed on this channel. So to continue my point about my dislike of people who constantly play the victim card, allow me to use this next segment to point out how their demeanor completely shifts the minute they feel they have the opportunity to fight dirty and victimize the people they don't like. By the way, I love how much of this parallels the Illymation drama from last year, where she tried to, multiple times, get me deplatformed because I made a video criticizing her. Anyway, getting to the part where she continues to fight dirty, after I released the dedicated video on her talking about her abusing the copyright system, Courtney went onto her Instagram and said this: "On today's episode of alt-right creators doing what they do best," stop, you know what's really funny? These people are so obsessed with making sure that everyone labels them properly, yet anytime they are faced with people who have differing opinions, they mislabel them as alt-right or Nazis. I'm not alt-right. Alt-right is a bunch of white supremacists who want an ethno-state, and I have openly stated many times that I don't like—
Well, the alt-right doesn't exist anymore. I think most people use it as just a substitute for far-right, but the alt-right is like a specific group, and that group is no longer a thing, so—
racism or identity politics. So it's nice to see that Courtney believes she deserves a respect that she doesn't give to other people.
Yeah, he's just right-wing.
Moving on, Think Before You Sleep posted a large anti-trans rant video. Stop again. It was not anti-trans.
I feel like that's sort of not even one you even care to fight. Like, if someone's going to call you anti-trans, it's like, all right, who cares?
It was a video talking about how sociopathic the activists are.
Like, would you rather be pro-trans or anti-trans? I'd rather be anti, for sure.
And how even LGBT people don't like—
even if you're pro-trans, like, in the sense that you think they should have the right to be able to get gender-affirming surgery as long as they're above the age of 18, it's like, I think still saying you're pro-trans carries a kind of weight that a lot of people don't even want to carry, you know? So
the activist. I mean, if I can't say that it's wrong for Lily Tino to dress like Miss Rachel and then advertise an OnlyFans account on the same page, then Courtney is basically saying that people can't criticize anything a gay person does or a trans person does. Think Before You Sleep posted a large anti-trans rant video and got mad when I got it removed for copyright because it illegally used my content, and they still don't know how copyright works. They? Are you misgendering me, Courtney? I am not a they, them. And last, here's the best part. After complaining about cyberbullying, Courtney finishes by saying, "If you could thumbs down, report, or leave a good comment for me, I would appreciate it, as I'm being spammed by their alt-right followers right now." And then she leaves a link to my video.
Dude, you know what's fucking nuts? Like, people truly still don't understand how copyright works, and it blows my mind. If you are using this person's TikTok videos in a video where you criticize her and use her as a symbol of something that you're trying to fight back against, in no way does that violate copyright law at all, okay? You would have to file each individual short-form TikTok as a protected piece of work under the law, which you are not going to do, and there would be no benefit in doing that. So, best thing you can do, and honestly, this is what I don't understand, why they just don't do this, right? Is like, why don't you just say, hey, this person's a racist transphobe and you should not like them, go leave a dislike, which is brigading and not good, but at least it's true. At least it's actually true. Like, you can say, you know, this person, or not, sorry, it's not true, but at least it's like your opinion, right? Like, it's more true than saying it's copyright illegal, right?
In the post.
Because it's subjective.
By a screenshot showing that she watched an ad. Thanks, Courtney. I appreciate your financial support. I also appreciate how you're essentially crying about cyberbullying here as you tell your 200,000 Instagram followers to go mass flag, dislike bomb, and harass a creator who is defending himself against you abusing the copyright system on YouTube. How are you—
Dude, what does this person even post? Just buy masks? Jesus, dude.
You the victim. And keep in mind that the result of her post was that I received a shitload of negative comments from her followers.
Okay, so unfortunately, I think that, like, people who have this level of autism and paranoia, I would hope that someone could come in their life and guide them toward the truth, right? Because I don't want to sit here and call this person, like, a crazy psycho bitch and whatever, because that's just, like, rude and mean. And I don't even know if she's, like, a bad person. I mean, filing that copyright strike, definitely bad. I don't support that. But she just seems so mentally ill that I would hope, like, some family member or trusted person in her life can come and actually assist her in finding the truth, because no one deserves to live in fear of COVID. No one deserves to live in fear of any sort of like disease that may or may not enter their life. They should feel free to do what they would do normally without wearing a mask, without being a schizo or paranoid person. And it's like, what I need to stop at the very least from happening is these people from having a platform where they can influence others. Because, you know, you can be as misguided as you want. You have the freedom to be wrong and the freedom to be paranoid. But what I don't want you to do is tell other people that they should be like you. And they can be like you if they click the link in your description and buy masks. Like that, I think, is like a socially contagious idea that can really harm people.
Really leading by example by showing that you think that bullying is wrong. Again, I love how this all parallels the Alienation drama, where she essentially did the same thing. She complains about being harassed while at the same time tells her followers to harass me, cries to Noah Samson about it so he would tell his followers to harass me, and says thank you to and gives no pushback to a friend who said I should kill myself. And let me just mention that in both cases with Courtney and Alienation, I pretty explicitly told my followers to not comment on their videos or harass them or engage with them in any way. So Courtney, level with me for a second. How is it okay for you to make multiple videos saying everyone who doesn't wear a mask everywhere in public is a bad person, followed by passive-aggressively wishing disability on those who refuse to mask? Like, it's okay to criticize those people, but if I say I don't like pink hair, then you feel like you're morally justified in sending your audience to try to deplatform me. I mean, holy shit, these people are ridiculous, especially considering people like Aliemation's good friend Noah Samson, who's moved on to telling his followers to commit acts of terrorism. And wouldn't it be a damn shame if someone had an old deleted tweet from Alienation where she was encouraging terrorism in 2020? Wouldn't it be just horrible if someone pointed out that poor little Alienation, who was always a victim, was cheering for innocent people having the shit kicked out of them and their property being looted and destroyed? Wouldn't it be awful if someone had an archive of when Twitter likes were still public and had a post that she liked with a bunch of
damn Aliemations is catching a lot of strays here, huh? No justice, no peace.
buildings on fire?
Yeah, burn a bunch of
saying
shit.
No justice, no peace. No wonder her and Noah get along. Both of them love terrorism. But I digress. You see, what Courtney has done here with this Instagram post is not only violate YouTube's cyberbullying policy, but she also violated Google's terms of service. Anyway, as I said in the earlier video, I will be fighting Courtney's abuse of the copyright system. The way that works is that you file a counterclaim, and the person who filed the strike has 10 business days to prove to YouTube that they filed a lawsuit or the video goes back up. Since Courtney was insistent that I had broken the law, and because she said she talked to someone at YouTube and they said it was copyright infringement, I hired a lawyer. Ethan Klein's lawyer, actually. And after I finished the initial consultation, I just started laughing. Just so everyone's up to speed, any creative work that you make, like a song or a YouTube video, is by law instantly copyrighted so that people can't resell it or claim it's theirs, unless they want to get sued. However, there's an exception to copyright called fair use, which says that you can use people's copyrighted works for the sake of things like parody, education, or commentary, provided that your use of the work doesn't act as a replacement for it, and provided that your input on whatever you used creates some sort of transformative change that alters how people interpret it. This is what allows for doing things like a movie review and using clips from that movie without having to ask the company. So I'm arguing that my use of Courtney's content is fair use. Now, that would have to be held up in a court of law, but since I only used 10 seconds and I gave commentary that argued against what she was saying, it's almost certain that it would be ruled as fair use. But that's not why I thought this whole thing was funny after talking to a lawyer. Now, I'm going to be brief on these specific reasons for why Courtney is screwed because I'm not trying to educate my opponent. That would be a stupid move. However, I will say that basically the reason I was laughing is because the amount of damages that she's legally allowed to pursue for copyright infringement of that 10-second clip is almost nothing compared to how much it would cost to sue me. She would be putting a second mortgage on that pink house to afford it. That's if she wins. However, if she loses, which is very likely, it would be incredibly easy for me to prove that her takedown was malicious, which means I can countersue for my lawyer fees, and that won't be cheap for her. So let me be very clear when I say that if somebody were to put me through a massive waste of time lawsuit like that and didn't have the liquid cash to pay for it, I would be brutal in trying to seize every single piece of property that they value until the fees were paid. I very much believe in the fuck around and find out policy, and if you want to get so pissy about someone criticizing your pink hair that you turn it into a legal battle, then I'll make sure that you understand why it's a stupid idea to file a lawsuit against somebody because your feelings got hurt.
Makes sense.
Because once you stop being emotional about this, you're going to realize how financially stupid this was for you. Now, as for what's
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people have stopped thinking about filing copyright takedowns, and they've just done it. Like, I noticed there is a lot of people filing copyright claims or takedowns on YouTube without understanding the full repercussions of what that action does. Because by doing that, you are opening yourself up to a myriad of legal possibilities that you don't want to endure. I think it's just people being so fucking retarded that they don't realize they're actually opening themselves up to all of it. It's just like, oh, takedown, claim, like, and I know this is true because I've been, I've had a few videos claimed in the past where it'll be like me reacting to either like Jubilee or some other show like that, and they claim it, and in the response, I'm like, hey guys, you can't claim it, and I'll tell them why, and they're just like, oh, okay, they release it, and I get all my money back. So it's like, them automatically doing it just shows how either stupid they think the average YouTuber is, or how, like, belligerent they are, and how greedy they are, right? It's one or the other, and I want to believe it's the second one. Like, they're all just greedy. They all just think that they can get away with it, and a lot of YouTubers are kind of adopting this, or a lot of creators are adopting this, where they just think they can, step on people and just, try to siphon money and shit like that off them.
happened so far
They hold it hostage.
legally. I filed a counterclaim and she backed down. Probably because she doesn't have a lawyer or any actual
the moment you file a counterclaim, it's just like, they're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that.
understanding of how the law works, and she doesn't want to lose a lawsuit. Actually, just for laughs, let's go over how I know she doesn't have a lawyer. For starters, she said, a person at YouTube told me it was copyright infringement, instead of saying something like, my lawyer said it was copyright infringement. Not to mention that YouTube purposefully does not take a legal stance on these issues because they don't want to be held liable, so Courtney was probably talking to a secretary or an AI chatbot that she thought was a human. Now, let me further emphasize how stupid it is to not consult legal counsel for stuff like this, because Courtney 100% does not know how to shut the fuck up, which, as the defendant, personally, I love. So after she made that post telling everyone to mass flag my channel, she made a YouTube community post talking about my video where people were happy to confirm that they were mass flagging my video that broke no rules, which again violates YouTube's community guidelines. Here's evidence of that.
Oh, wow. He needs to be deplatformed. Yeah, so this is just what's so dangerous, right? He needs to be deplatformed at this point. It is the second time I've heard of him specifically harassing an autistic person on YouTube. Okay, yeah, again, this is all evidence that you can use, I feel like, in a lawsuit to show that you also were having your channel, not just the copyrighted, protected, or whatever, the alleged copyright protected material, endangered, right? Because at no point now can you claim that it was just one video. It's like, now I try to get his entire channel taken down. And that's something that I feel like if you're him, you mentioned that in the lawsuit, and you're like, oh shit. Now now they're coming for my entire business,
The great thing about this post is that it helps my case for fair use.
Yeah.
Her calling me alt-right and transphobic is a public admission that our viewpoints are diametrically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like using that against, using that to say to the audience that you should go report it. It's not about the actual copyright. It's about, oh, maybe there's copyright, but more importantly, he's transphobic.
Opposed.
And
Thanks,
anti-autistic.
Courtney. That'll make it much easier to argue in a court of law that my commentary is transformative and fair use because I'm arguing a viewpoint that opposes yours. The great part is that she deleted this post, another indicator that she doesn't have a lawyer because deleting evidence like that is called spoliation, and there are penalties for that in court. I mean, she'd have to be an idiot to think I didn't save it. Speaking of, Courtney had no problem running her mouth all over the comment section of that post, and it would be a damn shame if somebody read through every single public comment she made and archived them. I mean, she was super arrogant about how knowledgeable she is about copyright law and how she has some sort of connections at YouTube. I guess it didn't work that well because my video is back up. Here's a comment that says, they're weird as hell for getting upset over this. Even if it is fair use as some people claim, you have a right to not be in a video if you don't want to. There they go, misgendering me again.
You can literally get, if you're posting yourself on the internet, like on TikTok, and people want to react to their TikToks on YouTube, you've opened yourself up to that. Like, you've opened yourself up to being duetted, responded to, reacted to. And this used to be something that everyone would make you aware of before you posted content. Like in the early 2010s, it would be like, careful what you post, anyone can see it. By that extension, anyone can use it for their video. And now everyone seems to have, like, I think either like forgotten about that, or I don't think so. People tend to know that. Actually, no, yeah. Everyone knows that. So I don't get why she doesn't know that. Everyone knows that by putting yourself out there on the internet, especially on TikTok, you've opened yourself up to many people reacting to you and responding to you and commenting on you. As you can literally see here, you're getting engaged with. Okay, so negative engagement is still engagement. You can't just have the positive without the negative. And it sucks that there is negative. Obviously, everyone would just prefer to have all their comments be sunshine and rainbows, but that's unfortunate. If it was like that, then everyone would be a YouTuber.
Not a they, them. And no, she doesn't have the right to not be criticized. Courtney is an influencer, and because she posts herself in the public square, people are allowed to comment on her. If you don't want people commenting on you, then don't post stuff on the internet. Courtney responds by agreeing and saying that transphobic comments make a video not fair use? What? Did I read that right? Here's a comment where she's openly acknowledging that she told her followers to go harass me and how much she appreciates them doing that. And last but not least, you could use this comment to argue that the reason that she struck the video is because of the criticism and not because any copyright infringement was committed. Let me just emphasize that we have a ton of evidence that Courtney filed that strike in bad faith. And just as a reminder for those of you who haven't seen the video that she tried to silence that's called Why the LGBT Movement is Failing, note that video was primarily about predators like Lily Tino filming in the Disneyland bathrooms with children present, advertising OnlyFans on a page that features Miss Rachel parody content intended for kids, and going into restaurants trying to get people fired in an attempt to go viral on TikTok, as well as there being a crazy mom in that video giving her kid medicine that will permanently sterilize him at 13 years old.
Dr. Olson had a decision.
You are in the perfect place to start on blockers.
And she promises to begin giving her estrogen, female hormones, in 2 years.
Around 13. That's what I think. You're not going to wait until 16 to start. You know that, okay?
Who's the bad person here? Courtney is literally defending child predators and saying I'm the hateful one because I spent 20 seconds in a video saying I don't like her pink hair and I think she's annoying. Everybody is tired of people like this. Everybody is tired of adults like this who behave like 5-year-olds, wagging their fingers and telling everyone what to do.
POV, you stop living the life you thought a proper adult should and
this
start
is
living for
insane.
what brings your inner child joy.
Oh my
This is
God.
what I mean. Everyone catered to me because I'm a child. I'm afraid of COVID, so here's this drawing I made to call you a piece of shit for not wearing a mask. You know, if you're a 28-year-old who has Peter Pan syndrome and want to play with children's toys, eat the diet of a kindergartner, and live inside of your obnoxiously pink house that I'm sure your husband is only pretending to like because he's afraid of you,
Does she have a
then
husband?
go ahead. It's America.
She's
live how you want to
asexual.
live in private. But the minute you start bringing your childish bullshit around me,
The fuck, that doctor should be stripped of her license? Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, I think everybody is more or less on the same page about kids' involvement in transgender stuff, 100%, yeah. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
is the minute that I start
Even things like puberty blockers for children or minors, like, I use them interchangeably. I mean, I guess minor and children are not the same thing, but medically I think they somewhat are. I do think that even if there's, if they're reversible or whatever, I mean, you can't get those years back, so I don't know if that's even true.
caring. And the minute you start pretending to be a
It doesn't
victim as
seem
an
true.
excuse to treat people like shit is the minute I have a problem.
And that's not even considering the larger community of all disabled folks who also experience chronic stress and dysregulation from unmet accessibility needs and living in disabled bodies in a disability hostile world.
Right, we live in a disability hostile world where we have a ton of accommodations and legislation to help disabled people, as well as economic supports for people who are unable to work. I mean, this chick should check out World War II Germany if she wants to see a government that's hostile towards disabled people. But ultimately, this line of messaging is not helpful to the people that she claims to be advocating for, which is typical of activism. And I get tired of people who have made it their life's mission to infect others with philosophy that turns them into useless victims.
And as someone who's black myself and has observed a lot of the mindsets that permeate within the black community, I think the one thing that's holding a lot of us back is the victimhood mentality. I've never been a fan of any group of people looking at me and saying, poor you because of this and that.
Right, this victim mindset is rampant in a lot of communities, and it's not helpful to anyone because it just demoralizes them into achieving far less than their potential. Usually that results in them demanding stuff from everyone that they could have just gotten for themselves. What's worse in Courtney's case, though, is that not only will she tell disabled people to avoid assimilating into normal society as much as they're able to, but also she'll tell them to self-diagnose mental disabilities,
They're already peer diagnosed. Peer diagnosis are being validated by another oh my.
which is just the worst health
This
advice.
is, again,
and
this is my issue, is like, I don't care that she's like very weird and lives very weirdly. I care when you start trying to infect others with this like mindset or this lifestyle. Like, this is the biggest problem, easily.
apparently, this is
Any medical practitioner that is quick to want to offer blockers or surgery should have a psych exam themselves. Yeah,
an
of
entire
course.
trend on TikTok.
We've seen the
yeah, it's
rise
evil.
of self-diagnosed mental illness. The term neurodivergent went mainstream, which mostly referred to autism and ADHD, and it
Yeah.
gained traction on platforms like TikTok.
Well, I think a big one is ADHD, because it's like if you self-diagnose with that, you get like extra time on tests in school, and you also get generally, I feel like, more lenience with bad behavior in school. Like if you just interrupt the teacher, or you're blasting like moaning sounds from your computer to try to get a laugh, like you can use ADHD really easily as like a shield to justify certain behavior that even people who actually have ADHD don't do.
Where users self-diagnosed and demanded accommodations for these conditions, like workplace flexibility, using their conditions as an excuse to shrug off adulthood and evade responsibility in so many cases. People started collecting labels like they were personality points, non-binary, disabled, neurodivergent, polyamorous, and became offended if others
Like,
didn't
what is
properly
this
adhere to
drip?
them.
Right. Taking pride in how mentally ill you are is the smart thing to do instead of getting accurate diagnoses and professional help.
Yeah.
All TikTok is doing in this respect is making people friendless and unlikable without giving them any perspective as to why people outside of the internet don't want to be around them.
You seemed really standoffish at first.
Gee, why would people see you like that? Well, maybe it's because half of your videos are you telling people why they can't live how they want because it offends you, followed by using being slightly autistic or non-binary as a shield against criticism. Like, it's funny how you have perpetual victims like Courtney, but then you have people like Ricky Berwick who doesn't give a shit and can eloquently say things like, "I'm Canadian, you retard." It's weird how basically everyone I've known who has a disability in real life doesn't feel the need to make it their entire personality and really just wants to be treated as if they weren't disabled.
Right.
But then you have people like Courtney who are out here
Going
ordering
around
everyone
having
around,
anxiety?
calling
Yeah.
people evil eugenicists for not complying with
I mean, this is like literally no likes,
her
though.
demands. People
Oh my god, how many
like
holy
Courtney are
Pokemon,
doing a
dude.
disservice to everyone who needs help or accommodations to survive.
Fireworks suck because they scare autistic and neurodivergent people too. 4th of July is a racist holiday that only celebrates the
What?
freedom of a select few.
Okay, not only do we have to wear a mask everywhere, but now fireworks
No
are bad
fun.
because they offend
Literally
autistic
everything's
people, and the
triggering.
4th of July is racist?
But
I have
these
to
people
mask
are-
every day, but you
The
can't.
problem is, like, I get criticizing these people, but I feel like they've like all changed and like gone away for the most part. Like, I don't think anyone like 5,000 likes. Bro, in 2020 that would have gotten like 200, 300k likes. We're looking at like a 90% reduction. So I don't even care.
Wear
really.
earplugs for a few
I'm
hours
fine.
once a year? You see what I mean? Literally doing everything in her power to make everyone hate autistic people. And all irony is completely lost on her, as she is a Korean who complains about bullshit like Halloween cultural appropriation, as she dresses like an anime character from Japan. So everyone's done with this.
That's true.
Elon bought Twitter and stopped banning people for criticizing these professional victims, and because of that, all of the other social media sites had to stop doing that to compete.
Let's see. I'm glad you said that, because when I used to be on Clubhouse, there would be people on there that would say they're autistic, and I always felt and knew that they would say that just so they could have an excuse to be assholes on the app. I always thought they weren't autistic and would fight with them. I would call them all out all the time. I'm sorry, you're not autistic, you're just an asshole, suck it up. Well, even if they are autistic, I still believe that like manners and behaving well to people is something that you should all strive for, not excuse.
So, Courtney, maybe it's time to learn how to ignore criticism that you don't like or respond to it in the coliseum of ideas instead of using the typical radical leftist below-the-belt cancel culture tactics, because those don't work anymore. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
Banger. Good video.